Hi, favored ones. Welcome to Soul Talk. Our guest for today is AJ and Vanna. Um, actually, nakilala ko sila way back, a decade. Di naman sobrang more than a decade, but siguro we did that time. I met them at Life's Directions, and actually si AJ yung una ko nakilala because he was the servant of all, and when he moderated, the first time I joined LD, it was he beautifully explained all the concepts of Father Ted. Actually, medyo nahihiya nga ako kasi kay Father Ted, nalilito ako. Pagdating kay AJ, yun pala yung sinasabi niya. So, imagine nyo, ang galing-galing niya mag-explain. So, nung na-meet ko si Vanna, sabi ko, ay, ang swerte nito. Boyfriend niya, si AJ, ang galing-galing, very articulate, ganyan. So, they really, of all the couples in LD, both of them were kind of special kasi nakilala ko sila ng ganon. And I'm so excited to have them here with us in Soul Talk to talk about spirituality and sharing something about their life. So let's all welcome AJ and Vanna to Soul Talk. Hi guys, how are you?
Hi.
Ano na anong pinagkakabisihan ni kumusta rin ang kids? Ayan.
Sige. Kids, we have a handful. So kahit 2 boys pa lang. So we have actually 6 months today. Our youngest Inigo, 6 months today, and then our eldest is 3 years old na, si Anton. So sobrang likot na. Talagang
sobrang likot.
A ball of energy talaga from the moment he wakes up, parang until late at night, ganyan. He likes to play and run around, ganyan. And then aside from that, I'm also doing my company, fintech company. So we do lending, online lending. And then I'm also doing my law school. So currently I'm on a semestral break. So I'm an incoming sophomore at the San Beda College of Alabang School of Law.
Wow. Ibang klase talaga. How about you, Vanna?
Right now, talagang ang what takes up my time talaga are the kids. So it's mostly really the 2 boys, and also I handle the business. It's a cafe restaurant, and it has an online store also that I handle. So mostly those 2 things. Pero sabi ko nga, mas challenging minsan yung kids than the business. But yun, basically those 2 things.
Oo. Actually, what I love about that, kasi ngayon ko lang narinig na nasa fintech ka, AJ, and I'm sure it's all about financial inclusivity as well. And then si Vanna, sabi ko nga, social entrepreneurship to pero sabi niya hindi daw, kasi hindi pa ganun ka, hindi pa yung...
Baka ibang level kasi yung tingin local entrepreneurship.
Yes, but you're helping the local...
micro-enterprise, supporting micro-enterprises.
Yeah.
So even your work is really community-based, and, there's a spirit of serving as well. And that's very, very admirable. I love that, I love yung work ninyong dalawa. Alam ko kasi when we started, when I met you guys, Vanna was still in corporate, and then si AJ, hindi ko sure kung, alam ko family business of some sort, ganyan.
Yes.
Oo. How did it all start? Your relationship? Was it really at LD? Although I know that both of you were alumni of LD.
Ikaw ba or ako?
Ikaw na,
Ako,
si Vanna.
When I attended LD, kami na.
Mm.
So it started in the Ateneo Covered Courts. I met him. We were both volunteering for Ondoy relief operation. So we weren't friends, pero we had a lot of common friends, including some LD alumni who introduced us. So it was more than a year of friendship, like friendship lang talaga, nothing else. And then after that, after he stayed at our VSU, he was discerning to be a Jesuit. And then, I don't know, things shifted. Niloloko nga ako, parang inagawan ko daw si Lord. Sabi ko, grabe wala akong ginagawa. So it was, siguro, AJ realized something while he was inside our VSU. Negotiate. And yun, it developed from there. So it started from volunteering, parang may shared mission. And then after that, it was a friendship, a long friendship. And then yun, somewhere along the way, na-develop. So,
Oo.
Yeah.
Yeah, pero how about AJ? What attracted you to Vanna? Kasi if that's the context, 'di ba, of the
Yeah.
story, you were discerning if you really are going to pursue entering, and then there's another path that opened up. What was it that, pulled you towards the marriage?
Yeah. Actually, yeah, looking back, I really like the experience because at the time I was really in discernment mode. So around 2009, I decided to apply for RVSU. RVSU is a pre-novitiate, so people who are intending or discerning to enter the religious life of being a Jesuit will stay at the house for a year, and
Mhm.
then you move up the novitiate, etc. So I was there. I was with an open mind and open heart and trying to ask God if it's really the path that He is asking me to take. Kasi ever since I was in high school, I think, or college, meron na talagang inclination for the religious life. Although medyo hindi ko lang talaga matutukan yung idea na yun because busy with school or busy with the family or I'm I'm in a relationship ganyan. So pero at that time kasi I had the opportunity to really think about it. So a few years after college, I was working. I've had experience with social enterprise also with Happy Noy. Um, I started to ask myself, oh, is the religious life something for me? So I sought out Jesuit priests. Father Ted is one, and then Father Xavier Olin, who was the director for vocation promotions at that time, also talked to me. And then yeah, so things happened. So I started the discernment process, but along the way, parang 6 months into it, after our 5-day silent retreat in Baguio, Mirador, I was able to realize na parang whatever whatever God's plan for me is, parang He ultimately wants me to be happy. So He ultimately wants me to be able to share myself fully to the world. And at the time, parang na-realize ko na um, I'd like to have a family and I'd like
Mhm.
to be out there in the world working for his mission, diba? So even my work, even my decision to go into law is also parang influenced by my discernment. So yun. So at the time, after my retreat, October 2010, so I came down from Baguio. And then yeah, nag-decide na ako maybe the life outside of priesthood is something that I would like to pursue. So yun. So things happened and then I invited Vanna for coffee lang and yun na, tuloy-tuloy. So I invited her for hindi, ang unang nangyari pala is may UAAP game. So I had extra tickets. So in-invite ko siya, o tara, doon tayo. Tapos yun na. Sa,
matagal na kami magkakilala nun. Tapos parang yun yung turning point. It was that game.
mm.
I don't know.
Natawa ako dun. Pero what attracted you to each other?
Ikaw
Is
muna.
it
Yeah.
is it still the same? Would you say that it's still the same? The attraction is still very much alive despite having two
Parang
kids?
mas mature yung pagtingin ko dun sa what drew me to him. Pero siguro you answer first. Kung
Yeah,
what drew, yeah.
for me, the attraction is really parang it felt right at the start. So parang I can't really quantify it or define it specifically. Pero I felt comfortable being with Vanna. I saw her as not only a friend but also a companion, confidant, someone I can trust. Na she has the values that I want to have in a partner. She's very honest. She's very open about herself, about her frustrations, about her struggles, ganyan. And she trusts me. So I think it goes both ways. So we saw each other as equals, and we supported each other's missions and goals in life, which is not necessarily just to become rich or just to follow a certain path, ganyan ganyan. So it's really more an open kind of support na parang whatever you want to pursue, I'll be here for you. I want you to be happy. And yun yung na-feel ko sa kanya when I met her. So there's really no like pressure to be someone that I am not. So she accepted me for who I am. At that time, I was going through certain issues then with my family, with my career, etc. So, and she didn't mind. She was very open to me, flaws and all, di ba? So I appreciated that. And I think that was also the basis for our growth as individuals then and as a couple, as a family. So parang our acceptance to each other, we know na pareho kaming um may weaknesses and flaws. But at the same time, we embrace that and we accept each other and we trust that we'll be able to pull through whatever issue we will face. Yun yung sa akin.
Oo. Oo. Ang ganda. Di ba sabi ko sa inyo, ang ganda ganda mag-explain tong si AJ. How about
Totoo.
Vanna? What
Um,
attracted you to
yeah.
him? Were you surprised when he suddenly asked you to join him dun sa game?
Yes. Ito yung interesting. I met him when I was in a stage in my life na I was happy being alone.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love
Yeah,
that.
I was really happy being alone. I love my new job. I just moved to a position that I really loved. And then basta I was just like really enjoying exploring, rediscovering myself. I was at that stage na I didn't have a relationship for a year and it was okay. And that was an interesting point in my life because that's when I met AJ. So even if I was not looking for anyone and I was completely happy, that's when I met someone that I could be with. Di ba parang nakakatawa, pero that's what happened. And when I met him, parang honestly, I was attracted right away. So ako, naku po, naka-record to. Nawala ako. Ayan.
Okay lang.
Naka-record to. But darang, I think I was the first one who was attracted because of like how he was, parang pati yung tindig or yung aura, may ganun din yung aura
Yes,
niya.
he has
At
that
that
nga. He
time,
has that, yes.
And then when you start talking to him, yung lalim, minsan lang rin kasi ako makamit ng tao na ang lalim ng mga pinag-uusapan at aligned yung values. And in terms of like intellect and everything, parang everything that I admire in a person, parang I saw it in him. So parang yun yung yun yung nangyari before. And yun, as AJ mentioned earlier, it was really also about yung alignment of values. Na if you find someone na you have like a shared mission with, if you both want to serve the country in some way, if you want to be with the community, yung ganong parang similarities. And we enjoyed yung mas mababaw na parties, we enjoyed nawala ako. Enjoyed
Okay lang
being
yan.
together. We enjoy being together. We enjoy our conversations. Yung mga all those little things also.
Travels and adventures.
Travels, adventures, yan. We also enjoy those things. So, yun.
Ang ganda. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Kasi especially of course, I'd like to highlight yung ginagamit yung words like shared vision. I never thought of that. all I know sa akin is shared values, and then there's also the shared level of faith at dapat mahal namin ang Diyos at the same time. But then you mentioned shared vision, and that's something, o nga no, at least supportive man lang sa vocation and sa mission na pipiliin. And that's that's not every couple has that. And thank you for sharing that, because it's something also equally as important na magtutulungan kayo sa mission. Kasi malaki naman yung mission, 'di ba? In your own capacities.
Yeah.
Ano, and obviously the attraction is still very much alive despite 2 children.
Medyo
Parang
nag-expand rin kami in size.
I think everyone did during the pandemic. But you know, both of you are very, very God-centered as well. How do you practice your spirituality? Kasi of course, that's also important, di ba? How do you practice your spirituality at home? And do you share it to your children as early as now? Because they're still so young.
Yeah, spirituality for us is really parang a habit or something that we continuously do. So although it's sometimes it's a struggle, for example, trying to set a time for daily prayer, ganyan. So medyo mahirap din yan given the, di ba, how spontaneous the kids can be.
May rhythm eh. May rhythm ang mga bata.
So yeah, so parang what we try our best. So what we do is before, especially during the pandemic, what we try to do is have our daily mass online sa Radyo Katipunan, for example, 8 a.m. during breakfast or after breakfast, ganyan. So we try to listen to the mass also. It's something that we also find very helpful for us in sustaining our spiritual lives. And then even in weekly masses is very important for us. And then having that space of prayer in our home, and then time for silence also is also something that we both appreciate now. So spirituality for us is really being reminded every day that we are not living just for our own sake, but there's God who provides for us and who guides us and who has given us everything that we have. And we'd like to also remind ourselves na, for example, for our work, when we do our work, diba? So parang we're not just doing it for ourselves, we're also doing it for our kids and for other people, for our families, ganyan. And that's what, for me, and yeah, I think si Vanna rin would agree, that's also at the core of our spirituality, diba? So parang the sense of giving, the sense of giving back to the world, the community, ganyan, and serving others is what parang God taught us, and something that we'd like to apply also in our lives, ganyan. So it makes us happy. Basically, parang nag-align nga eh. So parang it makes us helps us feel better, helps us feel happy. Our spirituality is something that we can parang rely on, especially during times of trouble or strife, diba? So like recently, what happened to me health wise, ganyan. So we've had our share of struggles also, and really prayer and God is the number one talaga source of strength for us.
Sa pero Vanna, would you say that parang were you already aligned to that? Kasi I know I don't know if you practice it, kasi in a very Catholic family, it's the husband who leads. So, tama ba yung impression ko that AJ is already leading and you're following? Or is it also something that you also wanted in a family? Yung ganun klaseng spiritual practices, and then the routines, the rituals that you guys have, is that also what you envisioned in your family?
So yung spirituality for me is actually a very personal experience. Even before we became a couple, I was part of CLC naman, so Jesuit spirituality as well. But it was sabi ko nga, sobrang lalim nung silent retreat. Doon ko lang kasi naramdaman yung ganong depth ng parang pakikiusap sa Diyos. Yung, and then, so before we met, parang may kanya-kanya kaming spiritual experiences, parang ganun. And then, no, so nung when we talked about it, parang there were similarities on our experience with God. Although separate nangyari, parang
Yes.
may mga parang similarities. So now that we're married, si Jay kasi parang admittedly may discipline in terms of routine. Yung mga routine, I'm more of like a free spirit. Like gusto ko rin may time for meditation. Gusto ko may ganun lagi. Gusto ko may music pa, ganyan po. But to be realistic about things now that medyo magulo na sa house because there are kids, there are a lot of tasks, daily tasks and responsibilities. Ang ano ko ngayon, ang motto when it comes to spirituality is whatever works. So whatever works within the time that is available, whatever works with the resources and the environment that I have now. Because definitely yung what we used to do when we were single, yung mga silent retreat, 1 week retreat, that's not really feasible at this point. So it's little parang like nuggets of prayer, giving thanks to the Lord. It's just, for me ngayon, parang spirituality is trying to be grateful every day. Trying to, kahit na sometimes it's difficult, there are challenges, what can we be grateful for? Parang yun yung isa sa mga parang nagsisymbolize ng spirituality ko at this point.
Ganda pa rin nun. Parang based on your experience, what you're saying is that your spirituality shifts in some ways. It moves accordingly and it evolves through time based on the situations that we find ourselves in. But one thing that is common is the love and the faith that we continue to have for God, which anchors us in everything that we do. That's really beautiful. Would you say that both of you individually still is continuing to grow spiritually or sabay na as a couple?
Ikaw, what do you think?
I think both.
Both ways pa rin.
Individually, we're still continuing to grow individually, spiritually, and then as a couple, as a family, feeling ko there's something that we build on it every day, even the smallest things. Just the other week, I was teaching si Anton, our eldest, the parang prayers before sleeping. So
Angel of God.
Angel of God. So medyo one time ko palang pinarinig sa kanya, parang the second time, parang although mali-mali yung words ang konti, pero alam na niya. So parang nakakatuwa kasi as a child, you don't really have the consciousness about what's behind the prayer, di ba? Pero pag nakikita mo na ina-act out niya, and then later on, mas ma-appreciate niya yung that action, feeling ko we're doing something right, diba? So parang and as Father Ted would often say, that by the fruits you will know, diba? Feeling ko as a family, as a couple, we've had many beautiful fruits. Primarily yung mga anak namin, both of them are beautiful kids na parang are gifts from God. And feeling ko we are being entrusted by God to take care of them and teach them our ways of prayer and spirituality also. So yun na lang, parang nakikita ko na we're growing spiritually as a couple also. Every day as we continue to meet with different kinds of issues and struggles and challenges in life, parang we find ourselves being able to pull through. Mostly because we share same beliefs, 'di ba? We have a strong foundation in our relationship na parang kahit may kanya-kanya kaming um, issues ganyan or whatever we have on the side, we're still able to settle down, quiet down, and maybe say a short prayer ourselves first, and then we come back and talk, 'di ba? As partners, as servants of the Lord, ganyan. So parang yun yung nakikita ko for us, na mahi mahirap siyang define talaga concretely. Pero feeling ko yung mga prayers namin and our spiritual activities helped us build our lives better. And I'm very excited to see where it will take us in the future also.
Actually, speaking of where this will take you or ano yung magiging future. But as of now, kasi syempre hindi naman natin makikita way into the future, 'di ba? Minsan magugulatan na lang tayo ni God eh. Where do you feel God is, leading the two of you? Or is there a definite legacy that you'd like to leave for your children or for the communities that you have served? Because you're very community oriented as well. So, meron bang ganon at least man lang yung matatak?
Siguro first is through our kids. We hope that our kids grow up to be not only mission driven and then with the right values. We pray that they become also God loving, spiritual, selfless. Yun. So siguro we hope yun that the values that are important to us are imparted to our kids and they grow up to also imbibe those values. Yun yung first. And then second, the legacy siguro, because right now we're still building, like we're still working towards our goals. Hopefully through our profession, through our respective areas of work, we're able to create more impact. And with the changing times, with the changing needs, hopefully we're also able to address these changing issues rin. And so siguro bottom line is we want to leave a legacy na through our kids, number one, through our kids, that they grow up to be great men for others. And second, through the work and the people that we will be able to help. So through their lives too. So yun. Yung dalawang yun.
Mabigat yun,
Medyo
Mabigat yan.
praying.
Pray. Let's pray for that.
Pray,
Definitely, there's always it's always a possibility, of course. It's always a possibility. How about you, AJ? Would you also agree to what Vanna has just said? Kasi medyo aligned naman kayo mag-isip.
Yes. Of course, yeah. I'm aligned. Actually, that's also my dream. Something really I'm working hard for. Of course, our kids, they're very important for us. Praying that they will grow with the right set of values, diba? And also hopefully a sense of mission as they will see with us, diba? As their parents, ganyan. So aside from that, parang feeling ko we also owe it to our greater community rin to become good Christians, diba? Christians meaning looking out for the least of our brothers and sisters, diba? we owe our parang our lives also to God and to others. We don't parang necessarily believe na kung ano man yung na-achieve namin is only because of our own efforts. It's a team effort, it's a community effort, and my hope is that we'll be able to give back and contribute to our respective to our communities. We also parang although medyo pipe dream pa, medyo matagal pa pero isa sa mga pangarap ko rin is to be able to help with education and taking care of even the orphans and yung out of school youth. Kasi in our community in Dasmariñas, we have we have family who will be able to support these dreams also. So hopefully eventually down the road the dreams will align and will be able to create greater impact in the community. No? So those are some of the things that we are working towards. No, so for example, si Vanna, she's doing the sari business. Even though kaya niya maniwala, minsan kaya niya i-claim the social, and it's really a social enterprise.
Sabi na nga ba, ayoko sabihin social entrepreneurship yun dahil out of respect for Vanna. Pero si AJ na yung nagsabi.
Kasi, siguro I was trained by like really great women leaders and parang sabi nila kasi social entrepreneurship addresses a systemic need, a systemic issue. So it's systemic poverty, lack of access to health, lack of access to basic needs. So parang ang lalim talaga ng pagtingin at pag-intindi ko sa social entrepreneurship. But siguro ang business ko, I describe it as supporting micro-entrepreneurs or supporting social enterprises to scale. So, sige, I don't want to put any labels and limits. So, yun.
Yeah, you're on your way towards that. You're on your way towards that. Kasi syempre, di ba, you build it brick by brick, hindi naman biglaan yan eh. It will get there. It will get there. Just like what AJ has mentioned, it will get there little by little.
Yeah.
Pero
actually, just to add to that, parang ano naman di ba? All enterprises, all great organizations start small, di ba? So might as well recognize that mission at the very beginning na, and then just build on that. Kasi kahit ano naman even corporations, non-profits, di ba, development organizations, even the church, the Catholic Church itself started with a few people lang, di ba? And a lot of doubt, though. So and all of them, the followers of Christ, are also sinners themselves, diba? So parang we all make mistakes. So parang for me, there's a parang consolation na rin that we will all have to start somewhere, and we'll have a lot of mistakes along the way. So I'm glad that I've made a number of mistakes and found a lot of struggles before, and parang feeling ko nakakatulong yon moving forward, and also with our family, with myself and Vanna. We've been married for 7 years na. We've been together since 12 years na.
12 years na.
Wow, 12 years na.
Wow.
Medyo matagal na rin. It's a third of our lives. So we've met a lot of diba? So obstacles along the way. So may mga issues, and we've learned from that, definitely. So it can be applied, I believe, for anything else, especially with our mission, diba? Our mission is really just to I hope we'll be able to give back, no matter how big or small. So parang that gives our marriage, our lives, a lot of meaning.
May I ask, kasi of course, having a mission is important. Would you say that in order to know your mission, you really have to understand your identity, or at least man lang yung kung ano yung nakikita mong purpose in life. Is it all connected? Based on your experience, ha? Would you, I know I'm tumataliwas ako sa, nagda-divert muna ako sa topic. But it's something very interesting for me. The way you, both of you mentioned, the way both of you talk about mission.
I think like self-awareness is very important. Knowing yourself, your strengths, weaknesses, your um areas of improvement, also your capabilities. All of these are important in discovering your purpose and your mission. So parang we are created in a unique way. So not one mission is the same talaga. So that the path for you will really depend on also the depth of your knowledge about yourself. What makes you tick, what makes you excited, what keeps you going. Yun. And kung ano man yung ma-discover mo about yourself, that will be the fuel that you use also to discover your mission. Yun, I think critical siya. Parang hindi siya, it's nice to know yourself, to discover. Parang it's crucial or it's necessary, I think. For me, at least, that's what I think.
Yeah, for me, self-awareness is critical. It's really the primary role that we all have in this world. If we're not aware of ourselves, we don't know who we are. Essentially, parang we won't have any direction, di ba? For me kasi, for example, success is a deliberate process. You don't become successful in whatever in whatever path you choose to take by accident, di ba? So may mga nananalo sa loto pero we don't parang consider that as a successful person, di ba? Success is a deliberate. You have to choose it. You have to really pursue it and work hard for it, di ba? So and you cannot work hard for something if you don't know, you're not aware of what you are working for and who you are and your capabilities and your capacity for sacrifice, for endurance, for being patient, etc. So parang for me, yun yung essential eh. So we have to know ourselves first, diba? And knowing ourselves will be able to determine what we want to do in our lives, diba? And what we can do and what we can give and what we can sacrifice, diba? Parang life is really parang a series of adventures and challenges that we have to tackle, diba? It's not always easy, but everything that's that's worth it is not easy. So we really need to know ourselves, diba? And have that capacity to decide na is this worth something for me? And if yes, what am I willing to sacrifice for it? Diba? So, yun lang naman eh. So, every motivation, even family, getting married, having a relationship, having kids, going to school, putting up a company, putting up a foundation, helping the poor, etc. Diba? Creating good for our communities. It's really a deliberate process. And you cannot be deliberate if you're not aware of who you are and you're not aware of where you stand. So for me, yun yung critical.
No, thank you for sharing that, kasi I'm also teaching discernment sa Lasal ngayon. And what you've just shared, both of you have shared, is really, really very important. I think I want to share this to my students. But, last question ito, kasi I also don't want to take so much of your time. You've mentioned that life can be a series of challenges and, It's not always easy, but how do you live a life of peace and joy? And of course, to continue yung faith trend, di ba? Yun, yung peace man lang. Kasi there's a lot of hard decisions to be made. Di naman lahat ng choices madadali. Although, syempre, meron din madadali, di ba? Those are fun. But encountering hard decisions and then difficult realities of life, how do you still maintain that life of peace and joy and bring it into your family?
Si Vanna.
Uh, so, forgiveness, parang it's a process. So, coming into married life, of course, we both have our share of past hurts from woundedness from childhood, from our families, those things. And coming into the relationship, parang it's really a process of also forgiving those who have wounded us in the past. That's the reality, eh. Those who we have hurt, so forgiveness also of ourselves. It's a constant process. Also, in our daily relationship, syempre, when there are challenges or there are issues, it's also forgiveness towards one another. It's a process of forgiveness for the times that we have maybe hurt each other, because that's syempre part of marriage, that there are instances like that. First is, even if it does not come natural to you, for example, naturally to you, parang it's choosing to forgive, yun. Yeah. And then gratitude, yun. Minsan nakakalimutan, pero when I look at my sons, yung pag tinitignan ko sila or silang tatlo pagtulog,
Pagtulog.
Natawa ako doon
pagtulog
pagtulog.
lang yun.
Pag quiet sila,
Parang
it's still.
I stare at them na, kasi kahit may own bed na yung son namin, sumisiksik talaga sa gitna namin. So, 4 kami sa bed. Kasi, tas yung baby naman, may nilalagay namin sa crib, kalagitnaan iiyak. Tas gusto mong sumiksik sa akin. So, 4 kami sa bed. And then when I look at them, I really feel grateful. Like, minsan I just stare at my youngest son's face. Tas sobrang, there's really like deep joy. Ayun, yun. So, gratitude is important to help live a peaceful life. Just pausing and really acknowledging the blessings. Because it's easy to forget, eh. For me, sige, when I'm busy or when there's so many tasks at hand, or when my 3-year-old son is super kulit na kung san tumatakbo, it's easy to forget. It's easy to get annoyed, ganyan. But when I allow myself to pause, to really just look around me, to remember and acknowledge the blessings in my life, yun, it gives me much peace. And with the challenges naman that come and go, it's
Yeah.
realizing how God moves. Kasi I must say, na parang ever since I was young, nakita ko kung paano siya gumalaw sa buhay ko, and kahit hindi puro masasaya ang nangyari sa akin, even in the past, parang I've seen how He works. I've seen the reasons towards even the challenges. So yun, seeing how God works in my life also helps me parang attain peace.
Oo, center talaga si God sa life, eh. Sorry, I just have to blur. Nilalaro ng kapatid ko yung dog. Ginulo ako. But yes, let's not let that distract us. Ayan, AJ, how about you?
Yeah. Sige. Well, first of all, thank you again, Brendy, for allowing us to share today, no. So parang I appreciate this opportunity for us to open up. And parang when you mentioned about peace and joy, parang I go back to my answer earlier na parang pursuing peace and joy is also a very deliberate activity and parang
Yeah.
pursuit. We don't necessarily have peace when there's an absence of conflict in our lives, diba? Peace is not
Yes.
necessarily absence of conflict or any problems, diba? And we've seen that, diba? Parang we know na parang minsan kahit wala naman ang problema, pero bakit kaya hindi ako masaya? May mga ganun tanong tayo, diba? So, growing up, moving from one place to another and facing different challenges, realize na parang peace is something that we have to define ourselves and find in ourselves, diba? So parang we become for me, being at peace is being able to accept myself fully in all my woundedness and all my and all of the things that I've faced, diba? So parang acceptance is key for peace. At the same time, also accepting that there are certain things in life that we have no control over, and it's just a matter of us accepting it. So parang the serenity prayer, diba? Parang Lord, yeah, give me the strength, the courage to, yeah, to change the things that I can, and then accept, and acceptance, wisdom to know the difference, diba? So for me, peace is like that. Peace is knowing myself, and if I know myself, I know where my heart lies, diba? And ultimately it's with God, diba? And ultimately it's from where all come from, and myself, my wife, my family, everyone included, everyone around me, everyone important to me, is the same. They come from God also, diba? So parang if I try to remember that, and I parang I tend to forget the small things of this, diba, na yung mga irritations natin, even sickness, even mortality, even the big things, big problems in the world tends to parang fade away when we remember that we are all part of this greater great beauty of God's creation, diba? So yun. So joy is the same. Joy is not necessarily being happy necessarily, diba? Parang it can be a quiet type of joy, but it can also be a parang a loud type of celebration, diba? It comes in different forms, and it's just a manifestation of us being at peace with ourselves and the world agreeing to to our manifesting our inner peace outside, diba? So I can see that every day, the joy with our kids, diba? Parang having children around really makes it very easy to see joy. So
I agree to that. I agree to that.
so masaya siya, nakakapagod, pero at the end of the day, you'd rather have it than not. So parang gano'n. So although minsan may mga araw na gusto mo lang ng tahimik, ganyan. Pero ano na 'yan, bonus na lang 'yun. Pero whatever life throws at you, if you're at peace, you can find joy in it. So that's my mentality rin. Parang I cannot control everything naman. I cannot parang control other people's actions or feelings or reactions, ganyan. I cannot stop people from being bad, quote unquote, diba? Or being irritating or being annoying, ganyan. Pero it happens.
Yeah.
Parang I just choose to to keep my peace and maybe love from a distance, and maybe focus on the bigger picture, ganyan.
Oo. Kaya pala deliberate eh.
So
May
yeah,
deliberation.
lagi sinasabi ni Vanna, minsan bakit parang ang chill ko lang, ganyan. So parang siguro I guess I'm built that way na parang kahit nagpapanik na yung mga tao, parang I want to try to maintain peace by being calm, trying to see kung ano ba yung magagawa ko dito, 'di ba? Parang ganyan. So gano'n. So those little actions for me keeps my peace.
Oo. No, thank you so much. Ang dami niyong nuggets of wisdom na talagang shinare in this, you know, less than an hour na conversation. And I really, really appreciate it. Even I am reminded by some of the things that you have said. Um, it's a reminder. It's always a reminder for us to take that pause and, even this conversation, at the end of it, I offer it to God, and whoever is touched by this conversation, may His will be done, and we've done our part. But what you've shared, it also has have an impact in me, and I thank you. I thank the two of you for being open and saying yes to the invitation to share your story. Diba? Wow, saya.
Wow.
I'm really, really grateful. Really, really grateful. And I I really, really am blessed to be hearing these stories from you guys. And I'll pray for the two of you that your prayers will also be answered, and the work that you do would continue to have an impact to your communities, and whatever future plans that you have, may it be done according to God's will.
Thank
Ayun. Thank you so much.
you
Ayun.
so much also for the opportunity. And talking about it also helps remind us and ground us rin. So this was a nice experience. Thank you.
Mm-mm. Yes.
Salamat.
For the favored ones, okay, thank you so much for, if you're team live or team replay, okay lang yan. I hope that you have gained so much value from this conversation, and remember that you're highly favored, and whatever it is that you're going through, it's all temporary, and at the end of the day, as long as God is there, God is in control. So let's all have faith and live a happy life the way God wants us to be happy in this life. And it's a beautiful life, diba? As what AJ has mentioned earlier. So thank you so much, everyone, and God bless.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.